Gegard Mousasi has been expressing frustration for quite some time with Bellator MMA and the PFL since they bought Bellator MMA because he says they're not giving him any fights because they don't want to pay him what his contract dictates him to be paid. So he has filed a legal complaint about the matter. The complaint is against Bellator and New Bellator LLC, which is a subsidiary of the Professional Fighters League, the PFL. They claim the defendants materially breached their contract of good faith and fair dealing with Gegard by failing to promote Gegard in bouts, and they also engaged in anti-competitive scheme to maintain and enhance their monopsony power for the market of MMA fighter services. Defendants also misclassified Gegard as an independent contractor when Gegard was in fact an employee and are liable under various misclassification-related labor and employment claims. This is also something that people say about the UFC as well, so there's some commonality there. Defendants include Peter Murray, who's the CEO of the PFL, Don Davis, the founder and chairman and co-owner of the PFL, Ray Sefo, who's the president of the PFL, and Mike Kogan, an executive at the PFL. Gegard thinks Bellator had no intention of ever following through on the contract they put together for him. They just tried to make themselves look good to the PFL before selling to them. Bellator induced Gegard into the agreement by raising his per-bout compensation and promising him 8 bouts, and Gegard entered that agreement, which provided that Gegard would get $150,000 for his first 4 fights. Then after those 4 fights, Gegard was supposed to get $200,000 for each fight after that. Gegard would also receive a finishing bonus of $50,000 for any bouts he won by KO or submission, plus a promotional fee for each such bout of $600,000. So after his 4th fight, Gegard was guaranteed to earn $800,000 per bout and up to $850,000 if he got a bonus. So that's a huge jump in pay after 4 bouts. So after the merger, the promoter defendants never promoted Gegard in another bout, despite Gegard and his rep Nima Safapur aggressively and repeatedly demanding bouts. So they intended to preserve Gegard as an asset of Bellator as a signed fighter for the purposes of Bellator's sale to the PFL, when Bellator had in fact no intention of promoting Gegard because the promoter defendants didn't want to pay their 2-time champ Gegard the fees he was contractually owed on bouts. They reached out to PFL chairman Don Davis, who said, "I'm aware of Gegard given his very high compensation. Given Gegard is not a pay-per-view draw and not a champion, his deal is very surprising. PFL's a fighter-first league, so we respect and empower all fighters. If he desires to have opportunities here, I can have Mike Kogan reach out to you, the matchmaker, and work on options with you." Gegard had 3 more fights on his contract, but now post-merger, the promoter defendants chairman was saying that if Gegard desires opportunities here, I can have Mike Kogan reach out to you and work on options with you. Meaning, if Gegard wanted to fight, Gegard would need to renegotiate his fees and terms on a match-by-match basis with Kogan. And they say Gegard is an employee, not an independent contractor, because the promoter defendants can hold Gegard to an exclusive contract. He can't fight for anyone other than the promoter defendants. And they have total control over where, when, and how Gegard fights, with the agreement expressly stating all bouts shall be on dates and at sites to be designated by Bellator/PFL in its sole and absolute discretion. And the promoters also exercise control over Gegard's conduct like they would an employee, not an independent contractor. Part of what Gegard is looking for is monetary damages in an amount to be determined at trial, but not less than $15 million. Gegard Mousasi's last fight was in May of last year at the Bellator Paris show. He lost a decision to Fabian Edwards. What are your thoughts on this lawsuit? Let me know in the comments. UFC 312 returns to Sydney, Australia, February, and Alex Volkanovski wants to be on that card. He wants to fight the winner of Ilia Topuria and Max Holloway for the featherweight title, but he says if they're not ready by then, he wants to fight for an interim title against Diego Lopez. Diego Lopez also down to fight on that card against Volk. That would be a good fight to put on that card. They have not fought each other. They are at the top of the division, and it would be a good fight. I don't think an interim title fight is necessary. I don't think they need to create an interim belt for no reason whatsoever, but that would be the correct fight to put on that card. Julian Let Me Bang Bro Lane fighting on the BKFC card November 9th in Billings, Montana. Day before that is the One Championship card in Bangkok. They added a strawweight kickboxing bout to that card. Jake Shields making an accusation towards Ariel Helwani. I wonder why Jewish journalist Ariel Helwani hates the first Palestinian champion Bilal Muhammad. Ariel Helwani thinks it's the other way around. Jake Shields recently started a podcast. He's had 2 UFC fighters on it, Bryce Mitchell and Merab Dvalishvili. Brendan Schaub got emotional talking about Shane Carwin's struggles. Former UFC fighter Will Brooks doesn't believe it's sincere. Fake crocodile tears coming from Brendan Schaub are disgusting. This MFer trying to grab likes and clicks from another man's struggles and hardships. If Schaub was so hurt and saddened by Carwin's situation, why hasn't this dickhead said anything before? At one point, Will Brooks was a UFC prospect, but then he lost 3 in a row and got cut. Since that time, he has 8 wins, 1 loss, and a draw.
This Saturday, PFL Battle of the Giants. Francis Ngannou versus Henan Ferreira. Paul Hughes versus AJ McKee. Only on DAZN.com. Buy the pay-per-view. Only on DAZN. Let's go.
Nice to meet you. My name is Noah. How are you? Good?
How are you?
We're glad to have you here in Diriyah. So let's go here, please, so we can take picture. Please. So that you come here, right? You can do the tour.
I'm ready. I'm excited for this fight. It's going to start the Legacy Tour, and I have 3 fights left here. I'm telling my fans, come and watch the fights. I'm going to complete a 2-decade fight, and I feel very blessed to be here. 20 years, and going to fight for the belt.
Johnny Walker halting his plans to go up to heavyweight. He's fighting in the light heavyweight division. January 18th, UFC 311 against Bogdan Gushkov. Tough fight for Walker because he's coming off 2 knockout losses, and Bogdan pretty much knocks out everybody he fights. I don't really want to see another cartoonish Johnny Walker knockout loss, but I sense that's going to happen here. It's just the nature of fighting at light heavyweight though, because there's a lot of heavy hitters there, and it'd be even worse for him at heavyweight because there's even heavier hitters there. But who knows, maybe Walker wins that fight. Who do you think wins, Gushkov or Walker? How do you see it playing out? Let me know in the comments. Sydney Sweeney is going to be playing Christy Martin in a biopic about the boxer's life. Cage Warriors coming to Rome on November 2nd. Dean Thomas hiring female strawweights, looking for highly motivated female strawweights in South Florida to spar. Likely for Jillian Robertson, who takes on Luana Pinheiro on November 9th. That's number 12 and 13 in the strawweight division. That card is UFC Apex 100, which is headlined by Neil Magny versus Carlos Prates.
Last fight, I was tired. I was exhausted. I'm about to launch this NFT that's going to change the fight game. And I put in 30 all-nighters before that fight. I had herpes before that fight, 2 outbreaks in the span of a week. I'm here. I'm healthy. Let's go. Whatever. It doesn't matter. I'll fight.